All right. Good morning. Good morning. Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody who do not celebrate Christmas, but you may acknowledge something else during this time of year. Okay. This is not a religious or anti-religious channel. That's not what I do here. So shout out to everybody, whatever you may acknowledge around this time of year. Okay. And apparently there are a lot of different possible beliefs where people recognize certain deities on this day, right? So shout out to all of you. At the very least, you're not working, right? So happy day off. I'm definitely enjoying my day off. Well, actually, I get 4 days. 4 days off. I haven't had this long of a break in a long time. So I'm going to definitely soak this in. I am soaking it in. I know a lot of people, you're spending time with your family. Hey, do that. That's more important than listening to this video. But for those who have the time or who don't mind, I would like to wrap up 2021 by acknowledging the events that unfolded that I've been trying to help put a stop to. I know it's impossible, but the least you can do is try to plead with people to snap out of it. And 2021 was a pretty good year. We got a lot of new channels, or at least it came to my knowledge. A lot of new channels. We're on the right path. Now, if you do research into child sacrifice, you'll see a lot of videos like this. I did a quick search and I found these. Okay. My comments have finally popped up. AJ in the building. T-Cat. Ban all dogs. Jonathan Payne. Sibby in the building. Kittens. Lillian. Paradise. All Out. Ashar. No doubt, Mr. Cooper. But this, what you see on the screen, is not the only type of sacrifice, as we all know. And it's unfortunate that it's not universally seen as sacrifice. I'm talking about these dog attacks, which it is. Because, I mean, and it's simple. It's simple. You ask a dog owner, do you sacrifice anything to keep this dog in your home? That dog owner has to say, yes, I sacrifice my child's safety. That is an irrefutable fact. Okay, this is for YouTube staff, the people who watch and monitor my videos. I'm not lying on anyone. I'm not exaggerating. This is an irrefutable fact that people who own dogs, they have to sacrifice their children's safety to own them. They let these dogs run around off leash inside the home. They are sacrificing their children's safety. So when there's an attack, when there's a death, fatality, that death is a sacrifice that the adult made. They knew it was possible They took the chance anyways. In other words, they made the sacrifice. In order to gain something, you usually have to make sacrifices, right? If you want anything in life, no matter what it is, if you want a home, if you want a car, you have to sacrifice your time and energy to a job. You have to sacrifice your job, your time, your energy, your attention, your focus to schoolwork, to your job. Every day you're waking up, you're clocking in or whatever. And if you want to acquire a dog, one of the things you have to sacrifice is your family's safety. So in 2021, there were a number of sacrifices. And I do this every year. If I'm not mistaken, I've been doing this for the past 2 years. And this year, we saw Aliyah Brown sacrificed. She was killed in the backyard of her home by the family dog. So this was a sacrifice made by her family, not by a neighbor or anything like that. A sacrifice that was made by her family. Very unfortunate, right? Very unfortunate. 2021, we also saw the sacrifice of A Miracle. You all remember A Miracle. She was sacrificed earlier this year. They claim that the baby, and this is really a baby, man. A baby that just recently learned how to walk. And they actually put it in the headlines that this baby got too close to the food bowl. And the only reason they would include a detail like that, especially in the headline, this is their way of protecting the dog. Lets you know it's a sacrifice. Because they worship the dog, and even after the sacrifice, their goal is to protect the dog. Protect the dog. And that's why they included the allegation that the baby got too close to the dog's food bowl. But in reality, this was just a straight up sacrifice. No matter if the baby got close to the dog's food bowl or not, that dog could have killed that baby for any reason. For no reason. And in fact, when dogs kill, it's always for no reason. Always. There's never a legitimate reason to kill or mutilate a baby or a child. Period. We also saw the sacrifice of Jaden Henderson. Shout out to everybody who signed the petition. I believe Jaden's Law was created, and it's not much of an accomplishment. It just makes the regulations a bit stiffer, where if you're involved, it's easier to prosecute the owners of the dogs with Jaden's Law. But shout out to everybody who signed the petition. Jaden Henderson was outside playing with these dogs. Y'all remember there was actual footage of this incident, not the attack, but shortly before the attack. We saw the mother of this child send her daughter outside with the dogs, or 2 dogs, and she then closed the patio door. Left the child outside with 2 massive dogs, unsupervised. Nobody can tell me that that was not an overt sacrifice. That's a moment where you simply cross your fingers and say to yourself, I hope the dogs don't attack. That's what these dog lovers do. This is the risk they take. This is the sacrifice they make. It is pretty satanic. We also saw the sacrifice of Elliot Sherwin, all in 2021. Elliot Sherwin, killed by his grandparents' 2 Rottweilers in Montana. Yet another sacrifice. And this one also involved the child's grandparents. Not just the child's parents, but grandparents. In other words, both the parents and the grandparents made the decision to sacrifice the child's safety. You know, they brought the child to the grandparents' home. The parents could have said to themselves, you know, I'm not going to do that. That's dangerous. The grandparents could have said, no, don't bring the child over here. We have dogs. No. They all made the sacrifice. Crazy, crazy stuff. 2021, really every year for the past 2 decades have been very, very bad. And we're only talking about, keep in mind, people, fatalities of children aged 13 and under. Fatalities, okay, we're not talking about mutilations. You know, it's actually too strenuous to get all the actual mutilations. Many are not even reported by the media. Right? We also saw the sacrifice in 2021 of Carter Settles, a newborn who was being held in the arms of a relative when the dog jumped up and mauled the baby. Now, this is a significant story that we don't want to forget, because this involved supervision. It involved more than supervision. It was not a case where the baby was crawling on the floor and the dog just happened to be there as well. No, this is a case where not only was the adult supervising, the adult had the baby in his or her arms. How much more protected could you be? Any and all lawmakers, law enforcers will consider that supervision. You have an adult holding the baby. Okay, well, it's perfectly fine to have a dog in the house. You're holding the baby. How can you call this person irresponsible? How could this be considered a sacrifice? Well, nothing can stop a dog. These adults can't even prevent the dog from mutilating them. So how could we expect them to have the power to supervise and stop an attack against the baby? No matter where the baby is in danger if a dog is in the home. So the true crime here is dog's presence. And this was 100% a sacrifice. They're all sacrifices. Crazy. Crazy stuff. Also saw a 13-year-old in 2021 mauled to death. Okay. This child was right on the edge of being an adult. It can be argued that she was at an age where she should have known better. But this child was killed by a pack of dogs. It was not a family dog, right? She was killed by a pack of dogs. Just a reminder that It doesn't matter if it's a family dog or free roaming stray dogs. Dogs are always a threat. And that if you allow dogs in your society, if you refuse to cull dogs, you are also making a sacrifice. The only countries, the only people who don't participate in this are the people who ban dog ownership and also cull stray dogs. And I'm not sure if there's any country on this planet that does that. And they should. And that's why this planet, the planet itself, is brainwashed. More and more countries are being influenced by the West, which is very pathetic. You got these countries across the world that are very insecure. They have an inferiority complex in contrast to Westerners. Trust me, I know about inferiority complexes, and they definitely have it. They view themselves as inferior to Westerners, and they think that the way to evolve is to become more like Westerners. And they throw away their long-held traditional beliefs for Western values. One of the most important Western value is the worship of dogs. And sadly, we are seeing more and more dogs obtain more and more freedom in more and more countries around the world. We also saw the sacrifice of Malia Scott Winberry, one of the more disturbing cases, because these photos that you see, and there are many more available, these are actual photos of the baby that was killed and the dog that killed the baby. In other words, they were treating this dog like a baby as well. This was a sacrifice where the parents knew full well that they were making the sacrifice. And this is something else I want to deal with on this video. How this cult, they have this tradition of treating dogs like babies and viewing dogs like babies. And they literally brainwash themselves. They brainwash themselves in order to view dogs and treat dogs no different than they would treat an infant, a 1-year-old, 2-year-old. Otherwise, they would not allow a deadly, powerful predator this close to their baby. Okay, they took the chance. These are very disturbing stories. These are so disturbing. To see the patterns of behavior that lead up to these attacks is very disturbing. And it's the pattern. Here, go play with the dog. Play with the baby. See, I just found this YouTube channel right here. I forget the name of it. I didn't even bother to save the name of this channel. But I want you to look at these videos. I hope you can see it. Because in almost every video, he will caption. He will get a photo of the dog, and he'll caption it as if the dog is actually using language. This is part of humanizing dogs, humanizing these predators. And this is part of the process. And this person makes nothing but very short videos. See, 1 minute, 30 seconds. 2 minutes, 21 seconds. Just random dog nuttery. He goes around, he's all day recording this dog to upload a video to YouTube. And you see the captions. Look, please, Dad. Dad? Huh? Project idea, this thing using human language. Look at this. But Dad. This leads to sacrifices. Because a baby come into the family, they will automatically, without even thinking about it, view the dog as no different from the baby. No different. That's why they're so quick to allow the dog to interact with their babies. Pretty sick stuff. There was also an undisclosed, they did not disclose the baby's name. Well, they did in this one. Y'all remember this. I reported on this. Aziz Ahmed, 3-year-old who was killed. Right? This was in New Jersey, in the backyard. These were family dogs. Once again, usually are family dogs. And it's crazy how many of these kids and babies get attacked by multiple dogs, not just one dog. They're getting double teamed. Brutal, brutal sacrifices. Again, Aziz Ahmed. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Now, this was one of the cases. There were about 2 or 3 cases where they did not give the victim's name. But a toddler, y'all remember, the toddler who fell from the window. This was all in 2021. And when the toddler landed on the ground, the dogs attacked the toddler. Right? Neighbors say the dogs were hostile and the yard was full of feces and debris. Boy, oh boy. This is one reason I'm hesitant to get a house. Because I can see already I'm going to end up shooting one of my neighbor's dogs. It's not going to be pretty. You know? And yeah, I have a low tolerance for the lifestyle of these people. Crazy story. Now, we're talking about loving dogs, right? You would think that if they're so loving, they would try to help a child that has fallen out of the window. If there's any time to be loving and to show that you're loving, wouldn't it be to come to the rescue of a child that fell out of a window? I'm sure dogs know what it is to fall. And if they're too dumb, they're obviously too dumb. Or they're not dumb. They're just that evil and vicious. I'm going to say both. They are just that evil and vicious and dumb. You're going to attack a toddler after the toddler falls out of the window. What a vicious, evil beast. What a vicious, vicious, evil, worthless beast that deserves to be driven into extinction. Also, 2021, another sacrifice where the name of the baby was not disclosed to the public. Crazy stuff. Again, also 2021, we remember Shamar Jackson. Crazy, crazy story where he was killed trying to save his chihuahua from a pack of dogs that had escaped their owner's property. And he had 2 older brothers with him, and they escaped. They all had to jump over a fence. But Shamar failed to jump over the fence, failed to clear the fence. And the dogs got him, mauled him to death. 7-year-old boy. So quite naturally, it took longer to kill him. This was a very slow, gruesome, torturous sacrifice. And, you know, these dog nuts, they get off on this. They get off on these sacrifices. They have to. I mean, if these stories, if these news reports don't disturb you, you're obviously getting off on them. If they don't disturb you to the point where you're going to do whatever you have to do to make sure it doesn't happen, well, you're getting off on it in some way. If not, you be like, whoa, a dog? No, I don't think so. You know, they're cute and all, they're funny and all, but I'm not going to own one. That's too dangerous. I have kids. My neighbors have kids. I couldn't live with the idea of knowing that I was responsible for the death of someone's child. No, thank you. I'll take a bird. Right? I'll take a hamster. I'll take something that's harmless. Something that even if it decides to attack someone's kid, there's nothing to worry about. No, these people take the chance. They make the sacrifice. 2021. We also saw Ryan Foster. Ryan Foster mauled to death by the family dog. Okay? Family dogs are projected as the most harmless and the least likely to attack. Whenever dog nuts want to project dogs as loving, they show the dogs with their families. Isn't that right? They show the dogs in a family setting. Well, family dogs are usually the ones that attack kids. Okay, 19-month-old Ryan Foster, after his father left him and his 2 older brothers alone with the dog at his parents' apartment while his parents were out of the country. Foster's brothers were uninjured. Y'all remember there was actually a footage on this where the older brothers ran out of the apartment complex looking for help. Right? Crazy, crazy story. These are all in 2021. All in 2021. 16-month-old killed in Akron. His name was Kaveh Lewis Calderon. All right, Kaveh Calderon. Police said the child was at a residence when at least one of 2 dogs became agitated during an altercation between a man and a woman. You all remember, I covered this in a live stream. The dog attacked the baby in response to the adults having an argument. Right? You know, they didn't even need to include that. Because if the dog actually did that, that means the dog attacked for absolutely no reason. What did the baby have to do with that argument? Who and what responds to loud voices by attacking someone not even involved in the altercation? You know, we talk about triggers, dog triggers. What a trigger that is. And basically you're saying the dog will attack in response to the wind blowing. Something just totally unrelated and harmless. In other words, the dog will attack for no reason at all. Yet these things are promoted heavily, especially around now. How many of y'all seen an uptick in the promotion of dogs around Christmas? Oh, let's find the pooch a home for the holidays. Man, they're all over. This dog is looking for a home for the holidays. Can you help? Open your hearts, right? Oh, man. Oh, wow. Somebody in the chat room, Bronze Flat Power God says somebody brought a dog to work yesterday, right? Shout out to getting that holiday money. Hopefully you got that holiday money for working on Christmas Eve, right? I wish somebody would at my job bring a dog. I'm out of there. And I will not get penalized for leaving. I will not. I'm allergic. I'm traumatized. I have cynophobia. No, I'm out of here. What in the world? Wow. Yeah. Very important. Very important live stream right here. We also, 2021, remember James McNeilis. This was a story where I covered the initial attack and I also did a follow-up on it. It was a slowly developing story. And it was infuriating because this child was killed by a dog that was brought into the home as a stray. It's happened more than once this year, right? Y'all remember in North Carolina, another family just brought in a dog they saw on the street, which really lets you know how brainwashed they are. You know you're truly brainwashed. If you feel like a dog can just be brought into the home off the street and you think, oh, well, as long as I don't hurt it, it won't attack. As long as we're nice to it, it won't attack me or anybody in my family. Oh, you just have to show it love. And see, we're rubbing it. We're giving it food. So there's no way it's going to attack us. Dogs only attack people who attack dogs. Now, I assume that this is what goes on in their head. You know, you have to have some type of delusional thought process to just bring in a bully breed off the street. Really? Who does that? Who does that? So 3 weeks after they bring in a stray off the street, this dog kills this boy. Crazy stuff. Again, it's hard to argue this is not a sacrifice. For you to bring a stray dog into the home, you have to say to yourself, well, I'm going to sacrifice my child's safety for this dog. Because the dog is more important than the child's safety. If the child's safety was more important than the dog's presence, the dog would have never come inside the home. Simple as that. I'm not lying. I'm not trying to defame these people. These people actually made child sacrifices. Scary stuff. In 2021, we also saw another newborn killed. I think this was another case where the name was undisclosed. This is in North Carolina. This is that other story where they brought in a stray. Right? Brought in a stray. Newborn baby killed by stray dog that the family took in and fed. They just saw an animal in need. They saw an animal in need. It's funny, people never look at natural animals as being in need. People ride around, they see rabbits, squirrels, deer every day. They never say to themselves, oh, look at this poor animal in need. It's only the brain dead mutt that they view as an animal in need. Crazy. Isn't that crazy? An animal in need, a dog in need. Let me tell you something. If I got kids, I don't care what a dog needs. Somebody else gonna have to give it to it. If that dog needs shelter, somebody else gonna have to give it shelter. The most I do, and I'm not talking about me, if I were a dog nut. If I were not an anti-dog person, let me put it like that. If I were not an anti-dog person, the most I would do was make a phone call and say, hey, animal control, I just saw a dog, a stray dog. Somebody needs to come pick this thing up. No, these nasty, brainless, brain-dead people said, I don't care what kind of diseases this thing may have. I don't care how violent this thing may be. I'm a dog nut. I love dogs, and as long as I'm nice to it and feed it, it's not going to attack. Let's bring this thing inside of my home, even though I have a baby, an 8-day-old baby, 8 days. Just think of how much of a lunatic you have to be. How much of a disgusting lowlife you have to be to not have any sense of protection for an 8-day-old baby. Do y'all know when there is a newborn in a herd, I think it's elephants make herds, right? I think it's a herd of elephants. Do you know those elephants will form a protective barrier around the newborns? Do y'all have any idea how protective all animals are of their young? Let me give you a quick scenario. Let's say you had a herd of impala. Okay? And let's say half of them would go out and bring a dog into their herd around their young, or a hyena. Just imagine if half of them did that. The scientists, if these impala were to do that, the scientists would say to themselves, there is something wrong with these impala. If a bunch of impala just started to wander into lion territory, wander into a lion's pride, and pretend as if the lions are family members, our scientists would say there's a parasite that's infecting and controlling the mind of these impala. There is something wrong with these impala, because nothing will endanger itself like that. Most of all, nothing will sacrifice the safety of its young. And impala, all other animals, they do the same thing. A predator comes around, the adults will surround the young. They form a wall. And these dog nuts will bring in a stray predator into the home. Not only allow it in the home, they will allow the dog right next to the baby to take a photo, to record a video. These are sacrifices. There's no way around it, dog nuts. There's no way around it. Don't come with your little arguments trying to tell me that I'm exaggerating or that that this is an argument that can't be substantiated on that nonsense. Don't come over here trying to project yourself as intellectually superior. No, pump the brakes. I mean, these dog nuts, they don't try to do that anyway. They never really try to make a true argument against any of our content. Right? They know better. They know this is the truth. Crazy stuff. 2021, we also saw the sacrifice of Avery Jackson Dunphy. Right? Mauled to death by a dog. What are the... Okay, I forgot the circumstances surrounding this attack. So I'm going to look it up right now. It won't take but a couple seconds here. Again, that's Dunphy. And okay, Dunphy, where is it? Okay, so the circumstances, where is it? Okay, I cannot find, but I mean, it really doesn't matter. Whatever it is, it was a sacrifice. We all know that, right? Yeah, if the dog was not a family dog, we know for a fact. Oh, I found it. Dunphy was killed at his grandfather's home. Now, I've just recently covered this story. Killed at his grandparents' home when he walked into a dog pen that contained 6 dogs, which the grandfather was fostering on behalf of an animal rescue group. So their concern, as always, was for the dogs, not the safety of the child or the children. It never is. They always make the dog priority over child safety. Always. It's part of their ritual. Pretty crazy. You know, sometimes I wonder, when they include details like the boy walked into the dog pen and stuff like that, I always see that as their way of trying to make an excuse for the dog attack. So, oh, well, the dog, it didn't just attack for no reason. The boy made the dog uncomfortable. Had the boy not walked into the dog pen, this would have never happened. Right? But there's no way around the fact that the adults brought the dog into the community, into the home, on the property. That in itself is the sacrifice. The sacrifice has been made at that point. So I don't want to hear nothing about what a child or baby did. They walked up, got close to the food bowl. I don't care if the child actually touched the dog, pulled the dog's tail, pulled the dog's ear. You made that sacrifice and you are at fault. Not the baby. You and that dog. 100% at fault. And this virus of stupidity is pretty scary. It's pretty scary. I want to show y'all something here. Let me share my screen here. Most of you remember this. And so bear with me. Those who haven't, pay close attention. No, I haven't showed this yet. I haven't shown this yet. Look at the name of this. Stray pit bull comes out of nowhere and is friendly. So this is seen as acceptable.
Oh my God. Hey. Come here. Hiya. This dog literally came out of nowhere. I know.
A pit bull roaming the neighborhood. How do y'all think that happens? You know how it happens? These dog nuts will simply let their dogs out of the home and they will purposely do this and allow their dogs to roam the neighborhood. How sick is that? These brain damaged mutants, and this mutt is running up to everybody. This constant tail wagging, they're always trying to project this as something, some beautiful aspect of nature. I believe that's a reflection of how neurologically dysfunctional these things are. Constant, non-stop tail wagging for absolutely no reason just reveals how unstable these things are. And this is exactly why they all need to be on medication. They have no composure, no sense of calm. And this dog is doing nothing but constantly begging person after person for food. That's all this thing is doing. And when it's not around a person, it's sniffing on the ground for something to eat and begging for food, begging for food, begging for food. That's why I cannot have a house. Because I would unload as soon as a mutt came onto my property. And I'd probably find myself in the same situation this other person did, who had to shoot the dog first. And then when the dog nut, brainless, brain dead owner came, they would force you to shoot them too. So here this mutt couldn't get any food from the people, so it moved on. This interaction had nothing to do with being friendly or none of that. It was about this mutt begging for food, and it's still looking for food. How dangerous is that? Crazy. Now this is the video I showed a long time ago. This is a classic. Many of you may remember this. Check this out.
Family dog taken away by animal control for mauling a newborn baby. The deadly attack happening inside a Mira Mesa family's home.
Attendance reporter Astrid Solorzano was following these developments of this breaking story. Astrid, you told us at 4 o'clock. Sounds like a cough may have startled the dog.
That's right. So far, that's what we think happened. Now we're here at the apartment complex, right where it happened, and neighbors told me that police were here all night asking questions, trying to figure out what happened. A tragedy all around.
It's a tragic incident for everybody involved.
A night a family would want to forget.
What I don't want is people to stereotype a dog and say, this dog did this because it looks like it's a pit bull.
Animal Services called to the 8300th block of Flanders Drive Thursday night.
It is scary to think that a dog can do something like this.
A pit bull terrier Great
Oh, let me not interrupt.
Dane mix mauled the family's 3-day-old infant. San Diego police told 10 News the parents were in bed with their baby and dog watching TV. At some point, the mom coughed and startled the dog. The first thing the dog made eye contact with, their infant.
We arrived on scene at 12:35 this morning. We were met with by San Diego Police Department. They allowed us entry into the residence where we removed the dog.
The parents took their 3-day-old to the hospital where it was pronounced dead.
The dog was impounded last night and brought to our animal care facility on Gain Street. The dog is under a quarantine status at this point in time.
Quarantine for 10 days.
This dog belongs to the family. It is up to the family to decide if they want this animal back. We will be in touch with them in a couple of days. Obviously, they need time to grieve.
They need time to grieve.
Now, Animal Control Services told me that they've never been called to the apartment to check on the Great Dane Pit Bull mix. They said it's a very rare fatality.
Oh, man. So the mother coughed. It wasn't even the baby that coughed. The mother coughed. And according to them, the dog attacked the first person it laid eyes on in response to a cough. No amount of training can stop things like this.
Mira Mesa family's home.
Attendance reporter Astrid Solorzano is following these developments of this breaking story. Astrid,
Here all night asking questions, trying to figure out what happened.
See, now, trying to figure out what happened. Wasting resources and time, tax dollars, with these stupid investigations. Talking to neighbors. That's part of their official investigative process. Ask neighbors, ask the veterinarian, talk to the mailman, talk to everybody. They came into contact with the dog and asked them, have you ever seen the dog act aggressive? If they all say no, then nothing happens to the dog. Oh, it gets the one free bite rule. Our laws are structured for sacrifice. The laws make the sacrifices possible.
A tragedy all around.
It's a tragic incident for everybody involved.
A night a family would want to forget.
What I don't want is people to stereotype a dog and say, this dog did this because it looks like it's a pit bull.
Why not? It's so-called men like this that really infuriate me. How's that going to hurt us to stereotype pit bulls? To see a bully breed and say to themselves, that dog is dangerous. Let's stay away from that dog. How in the world is that supposed to hurt humans? It does not harm us or our way of life. It only helps us. Enhances our way of life. Enhances our quality of life. Enhances our physical safety. Enhances our health. But most definitely, safety. This brain dead airhead talk about how they don't want to stereotype a pit bull. Show me one benefit of not stereotyping them.
Night a family would want to forget.
What I don't want
And
is people to
they always acting surprised. You bang a freaking grizzly bear into your home and you want to act surprised when it attacks someone? You deserve a slap. A couple slaps. Just shows you how these people are so brainwashed by propaganda that they will stop viewing dogs as dogs. They will no longer view dogs as predators, as killers. And then if the dog attacks, oh, how could this happen? Oh, I cannot believe it. Like a bunch of brain dead, airheaded imbeciles. Unreal.
dog and say, this dog did this because it looks like it's a pit bull.
Man, you can tell this guy does not have a drop of testosterone in his little flimsy, weak body. There is not a bit of manliness coming off this guy. His energy is totally void of masculinity, of manliness. Masculinity, manliness is rooted in your protective instincts. That's the first requirement, first requirement of masculinity and manhood is to have a sharp sense of protection. Instead, you get this.
People stereotype a dog and say, this dog did this because it looks like it's a pit bull.
Instead, you get a little weak-minded little punk. A little sissified little punk concerned about the killer. Even after the attack. This is after the attack. This guy says this. Concerned about the killer. The brainless killer.
People stereotype a dog and say, this dog did this because it looks like it's a pit bull.
Animal Services called to the 8300th block of Flanders Drive Thursday night.
It is scary to think that a dog can do something like that.
Scary to think that a dog can attack a baby? Or if it's so scary to think that, you would not bring them into the home. Does that make sense? Well, you know, the thought of a dog mauling a baby is scary. So let's not bring the dog into the home. No, this guy totally cosigns. He's probably a dog nut himself. This dog definitely cosigns with the idea of owning dogs. So, you know, how am I supposed to accept that as sincere? That you really think it's scary? That the thought of a dog killing a baby is scary? It's hard for me to believe that, seeing that you co-sign with this lifestyle.
It is scary to think that a dog can do something like this.
What a wimp. They really disgust me. And the same for you mothers out there. The same goes for you mothers out there. I'm up here talking about the protective instinct of fathers. It's just as strong, if not stronger, for the mothers. Those of you who carry the child for 9 months and you're going to expose your baby to a flipping mutt. Yes, you are just as guilty.
A pit bull terrier Great Dane mix mauled a family's 3-day-old infant. San Diego police told 10 News the parents were in bed with their baby and dog watching TV. At some point, the mom coughed and startled the dog. The first thing the dog made eye contact with, their infant.
Okay, so you had supervision. As always, right? As always, you had supervision. The mother and the father was there. Right? So the baby is safe. Because there's supervision there. My goodness. These people, they prove us right so often that it gets boring to even point out how often they prove us right. I mean, my belief that supervision is irrelevant, doesn't matter, it gets confirmed with almost every single story. Okay, where was this superpower that the supervision provides? When does it ever actually save and prevent an attack? It never does. Never does. All it does is make sure that the adults actually witness the attack.
We arrived on scene at 12:35 this morning. We were met with by San Diego Police Department. They allowed us entry into the residence where we removed the dog.
The parents took their...
Wow. Wow. Man, how can you feel safe with this guy in the neighborhood? Man, oh man.
That's where we removed the dog.
The parents took their 3-day-old to the hospital where it was pronounced dead.
The dog was impounded last night and brought to our animal care facility on King Street. The dog is under a quarantine status at this point in time.
Quarantine for 10 days.
This dog belongs to the family. It is up to the family to decide if they...
It's up to the family. Now, I don't know if they had this dog put down or not. But the fact that it was even alive for 10 days is telling. You know, you think that the family would request that it be euthanized immediately. That's not the way it happens. These people don't want to kill the dog. Not even after it kills their 8-day-old baby. Now you know what's even crazier. This article surfaced yesterday. And boy, oh boy, it made me mad. I was infuriated because I found it after I put together this presentation. And the title is, what is this? The Indiana Gazette. Indiana Gazette. The title is, "It's Always a Picture Perfect Christmas with Dogs." See that? Can you imagine putting together this presentation and then running into this article? What? Yeah, no, you cannot be a responsible dog owner. There's no such thing. No such thing. You purchase a dog, that's irresponsible. Right? Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. We will check you later, AJ. Oh, AJ makes videos as well. I just found that out. Right? Go check out his channel. I'm going to see if I can try to upload my suggested channels. For some reason, it can't find AJ's channel, but he makes videos. Go check him out. Most definitely. We are multiplying. But oh my goodness. And this guy, in this article, he posts his picture. He's so proud of what he has written here. Now, I'm not going to bore you with what he writes because look at the length of this article. Look at that. Look at that. Throughout this whole article, all he's doing is gawking over dogs, praising the presence of dogs. That's all he's doing. A bunch of dog nutter babble about how wonderful dogs are. Can you believe that? This is unreal. Unreal. When they do stories about dog attacks, they're never this long. They are never this long. I'm going to try to find this guy. Gene Leons. That looks like the same guy, doesn't it? Almost. Yeah, this is him. Huh. Wonder if he has an Instagram. Twitter. IG. Let's take a look at his Instagram. Is this him? No, that's not him. That's too bad. I'll do my research on him. I'll find him. These people, boy oh boy, who write these bizarre, really satanic articles. I just can't with these people. And what is this? Media historians versus, okay, whatever. So I don't advise you to read this. I mean, you can if you want. If you Google the title, it'll pop up. It's Always a Picture Perfect Christmas with Dogs. And there's been reports of attacks on Christmas Eve. Is that a picture perfect Christmas? Where somebody gets killed, a child gets killed? That's picture perfect? Where is that story? Right here. Family devastated after boy is killed in dog attack. A family is in mourning after an unimaginable tragedy unfolded just hours before Christmas. Is this a picture perfect situation here? Now, of course not. So what is so great about having a dog? Well, so you can rub them. That's the only thing they can think of. Oh, well, you can rub them, rub on them. This addiction to rubbing on dogs is unbelievable. This idea that it's more important to rub on dogs than it is to protect your family from dogs. More important to rub on dogs than it is to have clean water, clean air. You know, go ahead and sacrifice your family's safety. No matter if you have kids in the home, in the community or not. No matter if you have a newborn in the home or not. It does not matter. Bring the dog into the home anyways. If the dog attacks the baby or the child, so what? So what? It's worth the risk. And if the dog kills your baby, have another baby and get another dog as well. You should never refuse to own dogs, even if a dog kills your baby. This is the mentality of these people. 100%. You know, your child's life is not important enough to exclude dogs from the home. Yeah, your child's safety is not that important. Your child's life and well-being, safety is not that important. It's not more important than the presence of a dog. So you do what? You sacrifice their safety for the dog. They did it a number of times in 2021. They are going to do it a number of times in 2022. I feel like this dog nuttery is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Let's just hope that it gets better sooner than later. So big shout out to everybody. I hope you are enjoying your holiday. And hopefully you will continue to be safe, to be healthy, to be clean. Most of all, to be dog free as we continue with this crusade against these worthless mutants and their enabling owners.